morning, everybody. This we are sitting in USA in Kansas, and there is an interview which we are going to conduct with Mr. Andrew here, and he's going to introduce himself. And the purpose of this interview is that if you are in a different part of the world, how does the property, the real estate works in USA? So we're gonna just jump start on that. Okay, so Mr. Andrew, please can you introduce yourself to the audience that like how does this works?
Absolutely. So like she said, my name is Andrew Train. My company here in Wichita, Kansas is JP Wygand. I am a realtor, so that means I help people buy their homes, I help them sell their homes, and I can even help them find a rental. I also have ownership of a duplex, which means I have tenants, I am a property manager, and I'm looking to help you guys get a little bit of insight as to the process here in the USA and how you can maybe get a house yourself.
So before we even start, I just want to first touch bases with if I want to go into a property industry. So what exactly, how do you do the licensing and all that? Because in USA you have to get a license for that.
Right.
There are a lot of in the other parts of the world, you don't start off with that. So if you can just touch on that. Basically.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So here it's different state by state, but here in Kansas, what you have to do is there's two 30-hour courses that you have to take. You can take these online, you can take these in person. And after each one of the 30-hour courses, you're going to take it's about a 100-question exam. On the first one, you have to get a 70% to pass. After you take your next 30-hour course, the second one, you have to get a 90% on. So once you've taken the courses, you've passed the exams, then all you have to do is interview with a few different companies, see which ones you want to work with, and then you will hang your license with them and you'll begin selling real estate.
Okay. Nice. Okay. So for a lot of audience who don't even know the difference, like real estate, property management, can you explain that?
Yeah, absolutely. So when I say real estate or realtor, that means I am the person who is taking the buyers to the house, I'm selling them the house, or I'm the person that's listing the house to sell it. When I say property manager, that means I am the landlord, I am managing the tenants who are renters, and basically I am, maintaining the property. They're sending their rent money to me, and that's basically the difference.
Okay, so basically the sale purchase is gonna come under the real estate, and the management part, which is not the sale purchase, is the property management.
Correct.
Right.
Yes.
Okay. So So what are the different categories? Like if I go into the real estate and I already get a license, after that, what's the next step? Like how many different categories I can go into?
So there's really not too many, which is the good news. There's not too many decisions. There is residential real estate, which is what I'm in. That works with basically people's homes. So single family homes, if you want to buy a condo or a townhouse, anything like that where individuals and families are going to be living, that's residential. There's also commercial real estate. Mm-hmm. That's when you're going to be selling and leasing out offices, hotels, gyms, giant factories, things that you're going to be selling and renting out to large businesses and corporations. Mm-hmm. So those are the two.
Okay, that's very nice. Okay, so with that being said, so how does this what are the different marketing tools you use to attract new customers and clients?
So my number one tool that I use, that you use, that everyone should be using is social media. I use Facebook as my number one. Instagram is good, YouTube. Getting out and putting your face in front of people and, producing content for your audience is extremely important, because if you don't tell people what you're doing, then they're not going to know. So you need to be out there posting content, videos, posts, and I could do a large deep dive into marketing. But if I just had 3 basic tips that I could give you and your audience, number 1 would be, don't be afraid to get on camera. Show your face, be personable, talk to your audience. Number 2 is post content about, yourself, your hobbies, what you like, and just make it more personable. And number 3, which is the most important, is always give your audience value. So don't just say, oh, I'm in real estate, I sell a house, I sell a house, I sell a house. You need to give them value. give them, assets. And to do these posts and to do these things, some specific programs that I use. Number one would be Canva, which I'm not sure these programs if you guys have them or not, but Canva is the number one. It's great for making graphics and posts and pictures. Number two would be Express Docs, XPRESSDOCS. That's a great program for sending out physical mailers, printing out brochures, and sending things to people's houses in person. And yeah.
Okay, and then you were talking about earlier the different platforms people use here in USA. What are, can you elaborate on that?
So social media platforms?
The like Zillow.com.
Oh, yeah, for real estate. Okay, yeah. Number one, like you said, is Zillow.com. That's where 99% of people here look at homes, they look at the price, they look how many bedrooms it is, and they basically get all the information that they need. There's also Realtor.com, there's Trulia.com, and those are the top three that we use, but Zillow.com is the number one for not only purchasing a home, but also for renting a home.
So do you pay for these certain platforms? Can you explain that?
Yeah, so Zillow.com, Realtor.com, Trulia.com, nobody pays for those. They're public websites.
Okay.
But realtors like me who are, commissioned to be the leader in this industry, we pay about $500 half a year, and we get access to what's called the MLS, and that gives you much more information that's available to the public, and you get all the details nobody else sees. You get to see all the documents nobody else gets to see, and that costs, like I said, about $500 every 6 months.
Okay, and speaking of commission,
yes,
a lot of students would like to know, and the people who want to get into this industry, like what's the percentage you make if you sell a house, or you sell a land, or some commercial building or something?
Right, so commercial and residential are set up a little differently. Residential, traditionally, it's not always set in stone, but traditionally the buyer side gets 3% of the contract price, and the selling side gets 3% of the contract price.
Okay.
So if you sell a $100,000 home, the listing person gets $3,000 and the selling person gets $3,000. And the higher you go up in the home values, if you sell $1 million home, $30,000 and $30,000.
Okay.
And if you're doing commercial business, sometimes they don't sell the building, but rather they lease it. So when you lease it, it's 3% of the monthly lease amount for the term. So if I can get into some numbers here.
Okay.
So if your lease is $1,000 per month and the lease term is 3 years, that is, $30 a month.
Okay.
And then times 3 years, and that's the amount you'll get.
Okay.
So usually it's 3%, or if it's a lease, it's 3% per month of the term.
Okay. How do you do like the financial profiling? Like, is there a certain different person who does the financial profiling? Can you explain that? Because a lot of people don't know that.
Yeah. So for the financial, vetting, when you are talking about when I'm a realtor, when I'm in real estate, that is going to be the bank's job and your mortgage lender's job. So if you want to buy a house, you'll contact a mortgage lender or a bank. And then they are going to be the person that goes through all your financials. They're going to go through your credit history, how much debt you have, how much money you have in the bank, and they'll tell you how much they're able to give you. But me, as the realtor, I do not look into their financials.
Okay, so the mortgage rates. Talk about a little bit does if the mortgage rates go up or down, how does that affect? And in case it goes up, how do you overcome that interest rates? Right,
we're actually going through something like that right now.
Yeah.
3 years ago, rates were about 2%, which is historically very, very, very low. So most people who have a home here, they either bought with a 2% rate or they refinanced to get a 2% rate, which when a lot of people have a low rate, they don't want to sell their house, which makes it difficult for buyers to buy a house because there isn't any for sale. So that's what we're going through right now. And the best thing you can do is just, give your client expectations that it's going to be a little bit harder to find a home. And if you're selling a house, be prepared to have multiple offers and a lot of competition trying to get your house because there's only one available.
Mm-hmm.
It's a supply demand issue.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So what's the mortgage rate right now? Like
about 7% on average.
7%,
Right.
on average. Okay. Okay. So speaking of that, if I'm sitting in a different part of the world, and I want to buy a house in USA, especially specifically Kansas, what would be my first step? Like, I should because I know in a lot of different countries you cannot buy a property, but in USA the good news is that you can buy a home and you can own a home. So if I'm sitting in a different part of the world, then how somebody can approach you, how you can help them understand, and what would be the advice you want to give?
Gotcha. So it's actually a very simple process. All they would do is reach out to me or another realtor in the city that they want to buy in.
Mm-hmm.
Then we will connect them with a local bank or a local lender. That lender will go through their financials and say, all right, looks good, you're ready to buy a home. Then, I will take them out via phone call or FaceTime, whatever's most convenient for them. We'll find the house and then we'll go from there. So it's a simple process once you've connected with me and you're approved with the bank, and you can get the home and you can close on it without ever having to come to the USA.
Okay, nice.
Yeah,
okay.
Yep.
That's different. Okay. And then the last question I have for you is, what advice you would like to give a person who wants to make an investment in USA? Because a lot of part of the world, it's not as safe as USA, and not as and the property prices and equity they can have in USA. So advise us on that if I'm an investor, what should I do?
If you're an investor and you want to put your money somewhere that you can leave it there, let it grow, and then take that money out when you make some profit, you really just want to have a really good realtor who you can trust. I mean, you want someone who's honest with you, who's going to tell you if a house is good, if it's bad, if they should buy it, if they shouldn't buy it. You need someone here that you can trust. So it's not as easy as just buying the house and then that's it, you make money. It can be difficult sometimes because, as we know, things happen with the house, you're not there,
Yeah. So there are a lot of risk. Sometimes, if you're not living,
Right.
a lot of people buy vocational homes and use it as an investment because the equity is going to go up, and that's what is expected in the financial news and all that. Okay, that's very nice. And the students who want to pursue this as a career, any experiences, learnings you want to share, like for students who want to pursue and become like you?
So all I can say is I recommend that you need to work very hard. And go on YouTube, go on Facebook, go on these places and learn yourself as much as you can. These are great resources. You can learn free information. There's hundreds of thousands of hours of people who are teaching you how to do exactly what you want to do. So go out, learn as much as you can, study hard, and if you have any questions, you can always reach out to me, reach out to a realtor here in the US, and we're always happy to help you.
Okay, and thank you so much, Andrew, for giving us this time. And I'm pretty sure that a lot of people, you answered a lot of questions which I had, and you overcame all the obstacles and queries which we were looking for. So thank you so much. And yes, this is our first session of this interview, and if you guys have any questions and you want to know the answer, if you want to invest, if you want to buy a vocational home in USA, or you want to just become a real estate agent, so please contact Mr. Andrew or me, and there will be a number provided at the bottom of this video, and feel free to contact us. And really enjoyed this interview.
Of course, likewise, and thank you guys for your time.